It's off to Leonard, defended by Simmons. Is this the dagger?
Someday.
Yeah. I'll shop around the mic market, see what I got. But
you got a fresh.
How are you, man? Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
It looks really good. I'm in desperate need of one. A beard, especially. I might as well just call this like a playoff beard.
That's what I was saying. Just roll with it. You were sick last week, and now you got a playoff beard. So just go.
There we go. Yeah. Now I don't know if I could. I can't trim it or do anything with it until they lose now.
No, well, if you do and they lose, it's your fault. So
exactly. No, I'm stuck with this for.
What's the craziest thing as a sports fan that you do or you have done to like prolong a winning streak of some sort?
Okay, so I actually have a really good story about this game. The game against Green Bay. So, actually, let me start here. I think the craziest thing I've ever done, and I told you about this when we did our 48 special episode.
Mm-hmm.
I was eating the blue ices.
Yes.
In the two games that the Cavs won, game 3 and 4.
Yep.
So then game 5, I was just doing it the whole game.
Yep.
I probably had like a dozen of them during that game. But on Saturday night, I had to change up the outfit before the game because they had lost the previous 2. So you got to go in with a fresh outfit.
Yep.
So I did that, wore a shirt that I got for Christmas, haven't worn it for a game yet. But then they're down 21-3 at half, and they're down 21-6, and Caleb throws the interception in the red zone. And at that point, I'm watching on the TV. Maria's got the iPad next to me, and she's got headphones in. And I'm so pissed off. I'm like, fuck this. I'm no Valium. They're going to lose. I'm so done with this. I was just so bitter. So I was like, just take the headphones off. She's watching something funny. Maybe I could get a laugh or two and not be totally miserable. So then she falls asleep, and the Bears start coming back. And I almost pulled the trigger on putting the volume back on, but I was like, nope, can't do it. Can't do it. So I watched.
Where are you now, though?
What's that?
Where does this leave you going forward? Like,
so here's my thinking. I started the game with volume.
Okay.
And as soon as they got in the hole and it looked like they were done, I went volume off.
Okay. Fair.
So I think that's the strategy moving forward. Where if they're in like a 2-touchdown hole in the second half, I just go no volume.
Yep. Let's crank up some TV shows on the iPad or something.
Yeah, we're running it back with Ghosts.
Yep.
That's what Maria was watching. We're just going Ghosts again.
See, I appreciate that out of you. A true fan, willing to sacrifice.
I got to. I would never live it down if it was my fault the Bears lost in the playoffs. Like, I never would. It would stick with me forever.
Exactly.
My God, what a season. What a stupid, delightful team I get to root for.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway, we're here to talk basketball. I'm decked out in Bears stuff. I will be until this ride ends. But we got fresh blood in the water today, or I guess fresh blood in the campfire today.
Right.
We are going to be in the 2012-13 season, a mid-season game at Madison Square Garden, the Mecca, and we have a rising star at the time come into MSG and absolutely light it up. But before we get to that game, and obviously we're talking about Stephen Curry, we're talking about his 54-point game at the Knicks. I think we should start probably a couple years earlier. I don't know if you want to start with Curry at Davidson or Curry in Golden State, but having this kind of tug of war with Monta Ellis. Not really those two butting heads, but like there's two camps being set up, and there's kind of a feeling that a team can't win with two small guards like Steph and Monte. So I don't know. It's a really easy position to take now to
Right.
say like, oh, they should stick with Steph and Curry. Like, yeah. But I personally never wavered on that debate, and I have personal reasons why. But I mean, I guess let's start there. Where were 2010, 11, 12 range? Where were you thinking about the Warriors moving forward?
Yeah, so I mean, the Warriors had questions on Steph, but if you kind of go through his career, he was kind of questioned even coming out of high school. Like, obviously was not highly recruited. He wanted to go to Virginia Tech, and that they didn't show him any interest. That's where his dad
They,
played.
they just said he
Um,
could walk on.
yep, yep. So, and then he went to Davidson, and right from his freshman year, he was making impacts in the tournament. But there was still questions, and he was still, he was drafted in the lottery, but he was drafted was a third point guard, um, and that was because of the questions that were surrounding him. And you look back on it, and you're like, well, that was a stupid question, but there were real concerns about how small he was, his ability to be an NBA scorer. I think everyone thought he could, be a guy who could run around and shoot or be a spacer like his dad was.
Hmm.
But to like base your offense around a guy who's that small, especially at the time. I mean, you think of Steph now, and he's really, really built himself out, and he's got a solid frame to him. But back then, he was a string bean.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of questions about his defense. And I think he's graduated into a good defender, but early on he wasn't really the best defender. Um, and like he was coming into an organization who just had this really really big moment in time, the We Believe team. And Monte was a part of that We Believe team. I believe he was the most improved player that
Yep.
season. And then he averaged 20 points the year before they drafted Steph. So, he was a really productive NBA scorer. And they probably didn't have the ability of having them both out there and being successful because they both were undersized guards who really lacked defense. And they were right. They couldn't have both. And they obviously made the right pick, but kind of in the defense of the argument, like understand where they're coming from. Understand where Golden State's coming from. They got this guy who was on this team that made this huge upset. The fans love that team.
Hmm.
I think even still, you listen to podcasts and the Golden State fans will always love that We Believe team. And he was a huge part of it. So who do
And
you
he was
go
the
with?
last piece of it too.
Right, right.
Like he was the last holdover from that group. So there is something like sentimental to that, I
Yes.
think. Yeah, to piggyback on what you're saying, you know, Monte at this point has a few seasons of
Yeah.
averaging 20 plus points per game. And even the year that they trade him, which was the 2011-12 season, the lockout shortened year, Steph only averages like 14 points per game that year, and I want to say he plays like 25 games. That's
Yeah.
when the ankle injuries are at
Yep.
like their absolute worst. So even if you are a Steph optimist, which I was,
Mm-hmm.
making that trade to some degree did take some balls.
Yeah.
Now, could two small guards have worked knowing what we know about Steph now? I think they probably could have found a way. If you knew what Steph was going to become, then I think maybe you could talk yourself into, okay, we hang on to both of these guys. In the end, it ended up being the right move anyway. Because
It did. It
because
did.
they
And
get Bogut in that trade with Milwaukee, and Bogut becomes such an integral part of that team moving forward. He's their defensive anchor. When Kerr comes in a couple years later, he's kind of that elbow hub of their corner style
mm-hmm.
offense, and you
Yep.
could run certain like split actions with him having the ball. So it definitely worked out.
But
But
it, I the only thing that I want to point out too is it gave room for Clay,
oh,
and
absolutely. No, no, no.
and
They
that's
100% made the right move,
right.
for sure.
And just yes, if we have what we know now, sure, it could have worked, but like Clay really did, especially early on, cover up for a lot of Steph's defensive deficiencies. And he is
Mhm.
grown, but like Clay was taking the hardest assignment from jump. And that wasn't going to be Monte.
No.
So like yes, it would have worked, but it worked out perfectly for them because, like you said, Bogut turned into this beautiful passing center who you could lift the defense with. He could play at the top of the key. He could catch lobs, and then it brings in the ability to play Clay because they had Harrison Barnes comes in the mix too. So you really wanted to play all three of those guys.
Right. And the rim protection, too, with Bogut, I think is like a key part of it. And actually, um, Travis Schlenk, who is now an executive for the Wizards, and he spent time with Atlanta, but he was the assistant GM for the Warriors at the time. And he did an interview in 2020 where he said that the trade had less to do with not feeling like they could play Steph and Monte together. It had more to do with they felt like they needed a defensive anchor
Right.
and that Bogut was that guy. And that bet proved to pay off.
Yeah.
Obviously,
Absolutely.
Steph materializing into what he became is the biggest reason why, but I don't think that we could like underrate Bogut's impact in those first couple years there in Golden State where they hung their hat on being a really good defensive team and he was a big reason why.
Absolutely. I mean, and he was productive with Milwaukee too. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
he was number one pick, really solid player. Like you said, really good on defense. Did he?
I mean, if he doesn't dislocate his elbow in one of the grisliest
That was
NBA
nasty.
injuries, like who knows what he could have even been offensively. I don't know that he's ever like a 20-point scorer, but I want to say at his peak he was around like a 15-10.
Yeah, and I also think he got some like defensive player of the year votes
Yep.
for him. A couple of the years. Let's see. So yeah, he did. He got some defensive player of the year votes in 2010, 2011, and then again in 14 and 15. So yeah, he was obviously very solid on defense. But offensively, like you said, 2009 and the 2009-10 year, he averaged 16 points a game.
16, 10, and 2.5 blocks. Like,
Yeah, that's solid, and
yeah.
it just fit their team so much better than another small guard, because they also had Jarrett Jack in the mix, which they ran a lot of Jarrett Jack high ball screens. Boy, oh boy. So to
I got
think
some
that they
Jarrett
would have
Jack
had
thoughts
another
to fire
guy.
off.
Yeah. Whew.
Yeah.
This is going to make me sound super chunky. But, again, Texas Tech has Texas Tech has the second practice. Davidson has the first practice. Dad has us out of school. He's like, do you want to catch the first practice? And we're like, no. Let's hit the Pizza Hut buffet. Let's hit Pizza Hut buffet before we hit watching Texas Tech. So we were able to get Bob Knight's autograph. But we didn't see Curry. And I think it's the only time I've even had like an opportunity to see Curry. And I went to Pizza Hut buffet instead, which is just
Oh, well, okay. Well, we need to change. We need to get you to a Warriors Cavs game or something here, because you need to see him in person. I've been lucky enough to see him a couple times, but the first time I saw him I didn't see him at the open practice. I too went to the open practice, didn't see him. But my dad and I went to that first slate of two games. It was Davidson and Maryland.
Yep.
And then
DJ
Butler
Strawberry was
opened
on
in
Maryland, I think, right?
DJ Strawberry was on Maryland, yep. But yeah, Steph had 30 in that game, and like just freshman pulling up, shooting wherever he wanted. The next year, I picked them to go to the Sweet 16. They end up going to the Elite Eight. I loved him so much when he was in college. I still have a Davidson jersey. That's awesome. And I wore 30 in high school because of Steph. So he was my guy.
You even marked on the shoes, right? I could do all
did.
things.
I can, and I have it tattooed on my arm now.
Yeah.
But I obviously didn't forecast that he was going to end up being, a top 10 all-time player. I did, however, make a bet with our friend Dr. Colin Stucco, who we've mentioned so many times. It feels like we need to have him on the pod at some point.
For real.
But I made a bet with him during Steph's rookie year. Doc said that Steph would never be a top 5 point guard at any point in his career in the NBA. And I cashed in on that one pretty easily.
Yeah,
absolutely. But yeah, anyway, I felt comfortable planting my flag in the Steph camp with all the Monte stuff. They end up making a trade that is probably not as consequential as drafting Clay and drafting Draymond, but huge for the sake of their future and their first couple title teams. But yeah, I mean, it took a leap of faith on Golden State's part. Like I said, Steph only averaged 14 points per game that year when they traded him. He is picking up steam the next year, which is the 2012-13 season.
Yep.
And he goes into this game in New York on February 27th, 2013, coming off of a career high the night before in Indiana. He scores 38. And now national TV game at MSG. I don't know if you caught it in the broadcast, but this was Mark Jackson's first game coaching back in New York.
If you listened to the broadcast, believe me, you definitely were aware.
They beat that one to death.
Oh, boy.
And speaking of looking forward to things, Mark Jackson, a native of Brooklyn, New York, born in Brooklyn, played his college basketball at St. John's in Queens. A big night for him. He admitted that as he got closer to the date that his outlook changed on returning to Madison Square Garden, no longer just another game on the schedule. He is looking forward to this one.
It's special, and I thought it would be just another day at the office. But when you're a kid sitting in the corner listening to the Knicks, listening to Earl Monroe, dreaming about being a player, dreaming about being an announcer, dreaming about being a coach, and for that to actually take place tonight when I'm standing there coaching, it's a heck of an accomplishment, and I'm truly humbled and blessed that it came full
what every single time they come back from a commercial break, they're zoomed in on Mark Jackson. I mean,
it was wild.
it was crazy
really
in a really
over the
good
top.
game too.
Yeah. No, they were doing. We're getting ahead of ourselves, but they were doing like they did a split screen with Steph and Mark Jackson at one point in the fourth quarter where Steph had like 46 points.
Yeah,
I was like, man, I get that Mark Jackson worked at ESPN. He's born and raised New York guy, but like at some point you got to make the decision to pivot.
yeah, that was an ESPN special right there. They
Yeah.
wanted to get their guy over for sure.
Yeah.
Doris was doing her thing.
I mean, I don't know if they got him over, but it was over the top. That's for certain. Real quickly before we get to the game, though, the Knicks. In the midst of what would go on to be their best regular season, up to that point of the century, they've since had superior teams with the Jalen Brunson, that whole crew. They made the Eastern Conference Finals, but they go 58-24 this season. They win their first playoff series eventually since 2001, and Carmelo is having one heck of a year, and it does feel like they have the right kind of supporting cast around him.
Absolutely. I mean, if you look at this roster, like it's pretty impressive. So we'll just run down it. Obviously, Melo, who I think you just mentioned, probably his best year. I would assume.
Finishes third in MVP voting, steals the one first place vote that kept LeBron from winning unanimously.
Ooh, I didn't
Not
know
gonna,
that.
yeah, not gonna forget that one.
Yeah, but I mean, he averages about 29 and 7. They get a really strong year though out of Tyson Chandler, who was a really solid piece for them. He gave them interior presence, gave them a lob threat. He averaged 10 and 11, but he got 13 votes for Defensive Player of the Year that year. Really solid overall. And then they had solid veteran guards. So they had Raymond Felton, they had Jason Kidd. They kind of steadied the ship. They had JR and Shump to kind of come in and provide some athleticism, some scoring. Got my guy Pablo Prigioni, who I guess also is in the Raymond Felton, Jason Kidd, 35-year-old rookie. Who I hated. I didn't like him at all, but he got minutes. I mean, he didn't really produce that much, but he did play.
I will say, if anyone in the world looks like a Pablo Prigioni, it's Pablo Prigioni.
Yes, absolutely.
They named that. It is a spot on name for a guy who looks
name.
like he does.
Perfect name. They had Amare limping into it. He was definitely on his last leg. But they had one other guy on this roster who doesn't play in this game. But could you guess who it is?
I don't want to look because I know the only other two guys I think who you didn't mention who played in this game are Steve Novak and Kenyon Martin.
Discount double
But
check.
But I don't know who you're.
This player was injured.
Did they mention it in the broadcast? Was it Rashid?
We got another Rashid game, baby.
Yes, I thought I actually think I took a note down that Rashid was on this roster.
Yep.
Somehow we're gonna come to find out in like 2019 that he was on the end of the Sixers bench in the Kawhi Jimmy Butler duel in the playoffs.
Yep. They picked up Kenyon Martin and they talked about how they did it basically because Rashid was out. And I was like, wait a second, we got another Rashid game? So I did some digging and Rashid Wallace.
Good call.
Played in 21 games for this team. Averaged 14 minutes and still got buckets, 7 points a game. Not bad.
Was he wearing the Air Force One still? Is what I want to know.
Oh yes, he was, and they were the white with the orange and blue Nike. Oh, as clean as could be, as clean as could be. Oh man, I love that guy. Give me more Rashid. I hated him coming in doing this podcast. Now he might be my all-time favorite player of all time. I don't know.
Wow, taking over for Chris Duhon.
Yes.
I can't believe it.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, Rashid and Kmart and Discount Double Check aside, like, it's a pretty solid 8-man rotation. I mean, Jason Kidd and Raymond Felton, they're giving you like 20 points, 9 assists per game combined. JR wins 6th Man of the Year. He's averaging 18 off the bench, and he plays fantastic in this game.
Amazing.
And Shumpert, I always really liked him. I liked him coming out of college. I was happy when the Cavs got him shortly after LeBron went back to Cleveland. He was just always a guy who it felt like was in the right place, played hard, didn't overdo it. It was like he knew his role.
He was a role player on a winning team. Like,
yes,
that's the type of player he was.
Exactly. Yeah, so this sets up to be, it's late February. It's kind of the dog days of the season, but we get this game nationally televised, and I don't know, we don't have too many regular season games on our Campfire watch list, but if I were making a list just of the regular season games from the last 25 years that I remember where I was, who I was watching with, what I was thinking at the time, and just like entertainment value, this would be very high on the list. This was a tremendous rewatch.
It was a great game. It was a great rewatch. There was a lot of back and forth. It was, obviously close, but you had two guys that were able to really fill it up on both sides, in completely different ways. That it made it super intriguing to watch, and I mean, I will say this though, and you mentioned it to get going. Didn't really start off hot for Steph.
No.
And we'll dive in more into the first quarter, but like my end of my first quarter notes was that I actually, if someone were to say a player has a huge game in this specific game, I would have said it was J.R. Smith watching the first quarter, because he came out on fire, and Steph really kind of struggled, and he wasn't getting the ball all that much.
No.
Jarrett Jack he came off the bench, but then when he started to play, I mean, it felt like the ball never left his hand.
It's Jarrett Jack's world. We're just living in it.
Yep.
No, great point. I mean, what I actually thought you were going to say in a big game in a different way, but if you would have stopped it at the end of the first quarter and said that Tyson Chandler was going to end up with 54 rebounds,
Right.
I might have believed you. He had 13 at the end of the first quarter. They just couldn't keep him off the glass. I mean, I think he ends up with 10 offensive rebounds in this game. It felt like he had way more than that. Just the amount of like back taps he had. But yeah, they couldn't keep him off the glass, and they start Andres Biedrins. Festus Ezeli gets some run in this game. We get a lot of Carl Landry.
Oh yeah, bunch of minutes for Landry,
and a bunch of free throws too.
Yep.
And the issue here is no David Lee in this game. David Lee, former Knick, they hit on this a couple times. He's suspended for the game. It's one of only 3 games he missed all year. And, I think with how his tenure in Golden State ended, people forget about how productive of a player he was. I mean, he was a perennial 2010 guy. He was Golden State's only all-star during this season. And Steph was a snub, but Lee making the team didn't feel abnormal at all. I mean, he was going into this year, without question, their go-to guy.
Yeah, I mean, he was
show
solid
up
in New York. He was really good in New York. He was, and actually, I remember when they were deciding to kind of go away from David Lee and kind of give his role to Draymond, like that was another big question that they had to make. That wasn't easy, and he didn't make it easy on him. He was a really solid player, and like he just kind of aged out. But him and Bogut were really kind of the centerpieces to where we have these two really good passing bigs, and we have shooters. So like let's not just have our guards dribble the ball into the ground for 22 seconds and take a Jarrett Jack mid-range jump shot. It was it was corners, and it looked a lot like Vlade and Weber. And that's kind of how they played with Lee and Bogut. So yeah, no, he was a stud.
And I should have mentioned no Bogut for this game either. He was dealing with back spasms. I feel his pain. But yeah, so the starters for this game for Golden State, it's Steph, Clay, Harrison Barnes, Draymond Green. Starting for Carl Landry, they said before the game that Mark Jackson wanted Draymond guarding Carmelo. So, I mean, even as a rookie, halfway through his first year in the league, they're counting on him for a key defensive assignment. And then Andres Biedrins, and then on New York side, it's Raymond Felton, Jason Kidd, Iman Shumpert, Carmelo Anthony, Tyson Chandler. Yeah, so Steph gets off to a really slow start, only 4 points in the quarter. The first thing I have in my notes, and you kind of mentioned it earlier, Steph's physique in this game is just, it's Davidson, Stephen Curry, though.
Yeah.
He and the fact that he doesn't have any facial hair, he's looking very much like the babyface assassin.
Yep.
And really, you could say the same thing about Clay. He looks really young, too.
I think Clay might look younger.
He might. He might, because Steph always looks young, even with, like, the facial hair and a little more muscle. But Clay looks like a baby.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. And, Clay kind of struggled through this game, too. You could kind of see where he wasn't fully there yet, but again, I thought his defense was pretty solid right out of the gate. So him and Draymond were able to at least compete on that end and give him something. And Clay did have big games throughout this year. He had big games in the playoffs this year, but he wasn't like the consistent scorer. I also think, though, it was a lot of like their offense that they were running just didn't really fit him that well. They did run some floppy action, which also you don't see Golden State with two bigs on the block, and you got guys coming off of down screens. That's so much just cluster in the paint that you just aren't used to when you watch Golden State. That was very odd. But then they kind of like let their guards do a lot of ISO pick and roll. And Clay's not that type of guy. So they were kind of asking him to do things that weren't necessarily his strong suit.
And he certainly wasn't that guy at that point in his career. His around the basket stuff wasn't crisp at all. No. And I actually looked it up. He shot 61% from 0 to 3 feet in the 2012-13 season. That was the lowest of his career up until this year, actually.
Right.
So, which, he's had how many knee and, Achilles injuries. He's 15 years into his career. You'd expect it. But he just wasn't the multi-level scorer that he would become. Because he really did become that at a certain point. And he was never the guy who you could just get the ball to him on the wing and he's going to ISO and create his own shot. But you could, secondary action, swing the ball to him, and he could make a play off the dribble at the very least.
Yeah, and he started to be able to kind of develop a post game too.
Yes. Yep. If you put a smaller defender on him, he was gonna punish you in the mid post.
Yep. Absolutely. But yeah, those were kind of some of the things that I noticed. Struggled to get good looks. They both kind of struggled. Jarrett Jack came in and he shot 4 times. Had a -5 plus minus. And also, like, he doesn't even compare to his college teammate Luke Schencher.
Okay, can we
I had to say it. I watched the game and I was like, boom, gonna say Luke Schencher on this pod like that.
You son of a bitch, you beat me to it. I had a joke in there about how apparently Jarrett Jack didn't realize that he wasn't playing with Luke Schencher and BJ Elder anymore. And I should have known you were going to snipe that one from me. Mid-2000s ACC basketball, I wasn't going to beat you to the punch on that one.
Nazim Muhammad and them boys. Yeah, no, they were. But in reality, though, it wasn't a great first quarter for the Warriors. And obviously, you know, they trail 27-18. Now, for the Knicks, I just didn't. They had like an embarrassment of riches. Like, I was like, whoa, Amari's coming off the bench. Whoa, J.R. Smith is coming off the bench. And you know, they looked really solid in that first quarter.
Yeah, they did, and it helps too that they like Golden State can't get a defensive rebound. It doesn't seem like
No.
they're getting numerous second chance opportunities, and you know. That's why you bring a guy like Tyson Chandler in, and that's why he's so valuable. That's why he earned a spot to play for the Olympic team the previous summer.
Right.
You know, you give guys like Carmelo and JR multiple opportunities to score, they're going to take advantage of that. Those guys are going to keep firing, and
Yep.
more often than not, they're going to see shots falling. So yeah, kind of a disjointed, ugly sort of first quarter, but then right away in the second quarter, Steph gets going.
Yeah.
He hits his first three of the game at the 9-minute mark, and then he's up to 13 points for the game by 8 minutes left in the second quarter. So he's starting to feel it a little bit. The game's getting played with a little more pace. It's not quite as disjointed. And I feel like that's when this game really takes a turn and becomes the entertaining game that it would be for the entirety of the second half.
Yeah, so he gets his first shot is that finger roll that goes about 20 feet up in the air, right, and falls.
Yep.
And then I noticed, so I believe he hits his next. No, I'm sorry. He gets the finger roll to go, and if you notice, Amari gets a tech shortly after that, and it sends Steph to the line, and he hits his free throw. Mm-hmm. And when I was watching it, I don't think he had made a three yet, and I was like, oh, there it is. There it is. When you send a shooter to the free throw line early in the game and they get to see a bucket go in, it could really just make things really miserable for you. So, like, that was, I know, something that I picked up was, you know, he goes to the free throw line, he sees one go through, and then it's just like the basket's an ocean for him. And he goes bonkers.
Landry off the double. Curry with the quick trigger, got the three ball. Curry with the quick three, right down Main Street on Prigioni. And back to a 4-point game. Curry with another jumper to take the lead here. Curry for the lead. Got it.
And in the midst of him going bonkers, did you catch that Doris talks about how he won't catch Dell as the best shooter in the family?
That was the next thing I was going to bring up in my notes. Mark Jones and Doris are talking about how Dell's still the best shooter and that they thought he would hold on to that title. I have in my notes, little did they know.
Yep.
I mean, Dell had a great run as the best shooter in the Curry family, but I don't think that one's a discussion anymore. Yeah, so at middle of the second quarter, there's a mini Curry flurry. One play in particular, he digs down on a post touch for Carmelo, and this is actually where I kind of have always felt like he was a little underrated as a defender. If he's the guy you're attacking, that is not a strength of his, but his ability as like a help defender and to
Yeah.
play the angles and kind of be off ball. He's always been near the top of the league in steals. And you could see it here, just like the opportunistic digging down, getting a steal, and it leads to a transition three. Like that to me is vintage Steph.
Active hands. He's got really active hands. And he's so smart. You can't play with the ball, especially if he is that secondary defender. And he's kind of like long. I don't know if it's at that time he was just so skinny that his arms seemed long. But yeah, no, I mean he was amazing in that little flurry. And I also thought that Clay played really good defense on Melo during that little run.
Mm-hmm. I think Clay was the guy who was guarding Carmelo on that post touch.
And then, but I did also. I mean, Chandler's got 15 rebounds with 3 minutes left, which I guess probably isn't as many as we thought. But if I just feel like if they could have kept him off the rebounding, like it could have gotten out of hand. I felt like he was almost keeping the Knicks in it while Steph was going on his run. Like the Knicks were able to maintain a close game because of him. So the game never gets out of hand. During this run, but Curry, he's next level. I mean, he finishes the quarter with 27 points. So just overall an outstanding half for Steph. But also, like, the Knicks are right there. It's not like, he's created this crazy separation and it's a blowout.
No, the Knicks are leading by 3 at half.
Right.
I found in doing some research, this was Steph's first career 20-point quarter.
Oh, wow.
And he has the most 20-point quarters of any player since 2000. Do you care to venture a guess how many he has?
In his whole career. Oh.
His whole career, yeah. But he has the most of any player. 38?
Yeah.
That's actually how many Kobe has, and Kobe's in second. Steph has 46 20-point quarters in his career. Okay. And this was his first one, which I thought was pretty cool.
That is cool.
That we're doing this game. I had no idea that was the case.
No.
But yeah, one other thing I noted in the first half, and then we'll get into the third quarter. There were actually a good number of shots that I felt like Steph would have taken like 3 years later that he passed on.
Yep.
It was like he still wasn't totally given the green light to shoot from like 5 feet beyond the 3-point line. And there were a lot of times where he catches it, like they swing it over to him and you're like, oh, he's pulling it. And he doesn't. Mm-hmm. And it's so weird. It's like, oh my God, that's a layup for him now. If he gets that kind of space, even from 30 feet out.
Right.
And he just wasn't taking it. It was a sign of the times that I thought was pretty interesting because, like, whether it be this game or the Oklahoma City game a few years later when he hits the 35-footer to win it, he sparks the evolution of pushing back shooters and creating more space. And the 3-point evolution that we've seen, that's him.
Yeah.
But he wasn't quite there yet.
No.
And I don't know if that is just Steve Kerr empowering him when he comes in, or Steph having the confidence in himself because there's more of a body of work. But it was just, there were so many times where he would catch it and it would be like, oh, that's going up. And it just didn't go up.
There was one play that caught my eye too, where he's on I think the left wing, and they set like a ball screen, and he snakes it. So he goes right, but then snakes it back left, similar to, I don't if you remember the Clippers game where he just completely embarrasses Chris Paul. He
The
does,
one at the top of the key where he like,
yes, he
yeah.
does something very similar in this game, but then he just passes it immediately once he gets off it, and I was like, wow, like he would have definitely have shot
It's all
that,
good. I'll edit around it.
3
I thought you were
years.
too.
Um, and you say like I don't know if it was Steve Kerr or I don't know if it's Curry. I think that's Curry because I think there is like a mic'd up of Kerr when he's watching Steph shoot that shot against the Clippers.
There
And
is.
he's
Good
like,
call.
oh, what the hell? And it goes in, and he's like, oh, all right. So yeah, I think Steph just turns into, I'm gonna shoot when I want to shoot. It just he wasn't there at that point.
No, great call on that, mic'd up. I remember that. Okay, so third quarter, Steph has 27 going into the third. Knicks lead by 3. Our man Festus Ezeli gets to start in the third quarter instead of Biedrins. Steph hits back-to-back threes early, one from the corner and then one in semi-transition. And then he gets a tough contested lefty layup over Felton and Chandler. And he scored 8 points in like a 60-second span, and he's already up to 35 with 9 minutes to go in the third quarter. And then the next possession, and you talked about it, or you mentioned it a little bit earlier, there was like way more ISO ball with this version of the Warriors than there would be with Kerr. And Curry settles into a contested ISO jumper from like 20 feet away. It was like a Kobe shot. He settles into it over Kidd, and he misses, and it's his first miss of the quarter. And it was just so weird to see him take that shot. I actually rewound it to make sure that I had seen it right. It was just so weird. Like, this whole game, you see the like seeds of what he's going to become, but then there's still like little bits of mid to late 2000s basketball where it's like, man, I like he does, I guess, belong to that era, but it's still weird to see him doing those things.
Yeah, you're almost watching. You're watching him as he ruins basketball. You're seeing him start to play a different style. And you mentioned his first shot, I think, was a 3 in the corner. And it's off a ball screen where he comes off a ball screen and they blitz him. And he immediately gets off it, relocates to the corner. They hit him in the corner and he hits him with the shot fake. They fly by and he shoots it. And it's like, that is what makes Steph so amazing, is the ability to be so dangerous without the ball. You're guarding someone on defense. They have a ball screen. You're blitzing it. As soon as he gets off it, there is that second of like, whew.
We got the ball.
As soon as you do that, he's relocating, and that's when he kills you. And I think that is what made him special, and it's what changed the game, where we aren't doing so much isolation, especially them. It's more of like he's more dangerous off the ball than he is on the ball, and that's just incredible.
You hear that about him all the time. That's when the defense is in the most trouble, is when he is just slithering around screens, and his gravity, whether he touches the ball or not. I mean, how many open dunks or layups do you think that the Warriors have gotten over the last 12 years where he's coming off a screen and you just have two guys immediately jump to him and leave the off-ball screener wide open to just dive for a dunk? Like, how many just wide open paint shots, whether it be a layup or a dunk, have the Warriors gotten because of Steph not even having the ball in his hands? Like, it's wild.
A lot of guys, Jordan Bell, right? The one of their draft picks, I believe, was it Jordan Bell. He probably owes Steph a lot of money. But no, there's a lot of guys that have just made a ton of money off of just screening for Steph and slipping to the basket
Yeah.
when both guys go out on them. But yeah, it's incredible to see though. There is a lot of the like mid 2000s still in this game, so it's funny to watch. But
I mean, especially with the Knicks and especially with Carmelo. We opened Campfire talking about the early 2000s Blazers and all the mid post, whether it be Steve Smith or Rashid or Scottie Pippen. I mean, you watch this game and it's like, okay, Carmelo got his basketball education
oh yeah,
in Portland, apparently, because it's all the same shit. And, credit to Carmelo. He's one of the 10 leading scorers of all time. I don't know where he is on that list right now, but like he made a career out of just
jab step you to death.
Yep. Or getting you a little closer to the basket, a couple shot fakes, get you in the air. Like he made a career out of that, and he was fantastic at it. But I mean, he is the embodiment of that mid 2000s sort of style of basketball, and he's probably, I would guess, he's probably the last star player that we're going to see who really lives in that area of the floor.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
maybe Kawhi a little bit moving forward later, but
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say like me. I don't know. Durant kind of has extended it out,
yeah,
but and also I feel like Kawhi and Durant too. They're more. They probably have more ball screens. Like they're
sure,
involved in more
yep.
ball screens. Melo really wasn't coming off a ball screen. There was one thing Melo was gonna do, and he was gonna catch it at the left block or the left mid post and have fun. He's gonna jab 8 times, pump fake 8 times. He's gonna blow by right and either dunk or spin back and hit a fade. It's just there's only so much you could do.
And it was the same shit he was doing at Syracuse.
Right.
Like that's what brought him to the NBA, and he was elite at it then, and he remained elite at it for close to 15 years. So like,
Yep.
props to him.
Absolutely.
There was actually, we're skipping ahead a little bit now, but there was actually one play kind of midway through the fourth quarter. He gets a screen from Tyson Chandler and he drives middle and he hits Amare, who's like cutting baseline with sort of a no-look pass. And it's that kind of stuff that we saw from him on occasion that I think was like the carrot that was dangling in front of everyone who was like, okay, Melo, just take that last step to like real superstardom. Because, his career assist numbers, they're probably around like 3 per game. But like, it was in there. It was somewhere in there. Like, the plays like that every once in a while, it was like, okay, man, this is what he could be. And he was never going to be LeBron, but like, I saw that play and I was like, man, I like seeing that from him every once in a while.
Yeah, I agree with you, but that's just frankly not who he was. A professional scorer, and that's how he saw himself. And damn it, he was good at it. Like he played awesome.
Very good at
it. He scored 30 points. Well, actually ended up scoring 35, but it was his 20th 30-point game of the year. So just really a dominant scorer. But yeah, he wasn't trying to get too many assists. That's for sure. He definitely was in the Mamba training school. And he was another thing that he was so strong. Like that was another thing that stood out to me. Was just how physically impactful he was. Like rebounding, like get to the offensive glass. He could post you up. If he got to the block, it was over. He was going to score. So he was just a really solid player. There are definitely there's some shortcomings there, but I think overall, I hope he is celebrated because he is like a one of a kind with the way he could score it.
Let's back up a little bit. Steph hits a three with 5 seconds left in the third quarter to go up to 38 for the game. So he has 11 in the third quarter. It cuts the Knicks lead to 3 going into the fourth. And then 2 minutes into the fourth quarter, he hits another 3. And it's the first time all game that I felt like the Garden sort of recognized, like, oh shit, we're seeing something. Like there was a collective like, ooh.
I was gonna say
that shot.
That was in my notes actually. It was the last shot of the third quarter. I felt like
maybe it was that one.
I felt like after that, every time he shot, like you said, you heard the ooh, like you there was a roar in the building whenever he shot, and then when he missed, there was almost that like So yeah, because you're right, old man Prigioni hits a 3 to start, and then Steph answers with a 3. In the crowd, it starts to buzz.
Hard as Draymond Green is ready. Steph just too accomplished.
We've seen that movie before. Steph Curry with another 3.
You know, he's got 41 at that point. And then he just starts getting to the lane, like, whenever he wants. And his dribble package starts to kind of show, and you're like, oh, I know that one. And with 8 minutes left, he, to me, is like the ultimate dribble package move of Steph. It's the in between with your right, behind the back with the left, and then he shoots like a fader going right. It's the Olympic
over Chandler.
Yep, and it's the shot that he shot, against, I think it was France. And that to me was like, that's the Curry shot. Right to left cross, fade going right, which, like, as a right-handed player, shooting a fadeaway going right is just the hardest shot, in my opinion, in all of basketball. And he just puts so much arc on it when he does that. It's incredible the way his shooting percentage on that shot seems extremely high, and it's the hardest shot in all of sports. Like
And this one in particular,
right,
with a 7-footer right there. I mean, Chandler gets a really good contest on the shot, and I'll make sure we get the video in here so people can see it. But like, yeah, that's like quintessential Steph, that play, and I think it's probably the like go-to shot that I think of from this game.
Yeah,
was that one. So that's his 9th 3 of the game, which ties the Golden State single game record, and it's also the most 3s ever by a Knicks opponent. So fairly. I don't want to say the stakes were early in the fourth quarter at this point, but like he's finding himself in hollowed ground at this point. It's tight throughout the fourth quarter. Then with just under 5 minutes left, the Knicks are up by 2, and Carmelo gets the ball in the mid post. Draymond plays excellent defense on him, forces him into a really tough shot in the paint. And then it leads to a transition opportunity where Steph, this is another just vintage Steph shot. It's the stop and pop 3 from the top of the key. Barely touches the net. And that's where we get the Steph shimmy coming back the other end, leaving Draymond hanging.
He shimmied from the 3-point line to the other end line, it felt like.
It was a 60-foot shimmy. Yeah, he sets the Garden record for 3s. He also set the Garden record for the longest shimmy. I think it's fair to say that, I don't have Guinness pulled up right now, but
Draymond
go
hits
on
him
a
with the
limb.
water boy. Slap hands. Slap hands. he just goes right by him. Oh,
You know
man.
what's funny though? So that's his 10th three of the game. On his 11th three, I don't know if you caught this, but they're coming out of a timeout, and first of all, they're playing Gangnam Style when they come out of timeout. Just a time capsule from 2013.
Yep.
They're rocking Psy at Madison Square Garden. But Steph makes sure to get Draymond with the high five on that one. And he kind of like jumps in the air as
Yeah.
he does it. Like he
Yeah.
doesn't forget Draymond on that one. Draymond must have gave him some shit in the huddle. But yeah, at that point, the Warriors go up 103-102. That gets Steph to 52 for the game. And then the rest of the way, like Steph ends up with 54. He gets, I want to say a pair of free throws to get him to 54. But it's just all the stuff you'd expect from the Knicks down the stretch. Mm-hmm. It's Tyson Chandler, another offensive rebound, with a pass back out to Carmelo, who hits a three. JR ends up hitting a clutch shot late in the game.
Over Clay, right?
Over Clay, yep. To give the Knicks a 107-105 lead with just over a minute to go. And this is where we have to come back to Jarrett Jack. Because there's too much Jarrett Jack in this game for the entirety. But over the last, 3-4 minutes of this game, it's every time, again, it's Jarrett Jack's world.
Yep.
Stephen Curry, everyone else at MSG is just living in it.
Yep.
And that was my biggest problem with this particular team, and it was why I was so glad the following offseason when they acquire Andre Iguodala and let Jarrett Jack go. Because Iguodala could do a lot of that secondary ball handling, and he's not going to be a ball stopper like Jarrett Jack was, and that killed them. I mean, I would guess close to 10 times throughout the whole year in close games late, just him trying to do too much. And it was like it never looked good. It never went well. It was really frustrating to watch.
Yeah, especially, obviously, it's easy for us knowing what we know now, but when you see that they have so much scoring opportunity on the floor and we're just going to keep running the same side ball screen action with Jarrett Jack and Carl Landry, it's like, why are we doing that? We got Steph on the weak side, and it's like, no, just do something else. And
again, like we were talking about, having Steph off the ball is fine.
Right.
It's not like he needs to be, at the top of the key, ball in his hands, every possession over and over. That's not his superpower. But it was like you said, it was just him weak side, not doing anything.
No, just stand
he
in the
just
corner.
wasn't involved at all.
Yeah, stand in the corner. You're the best shooter in NBA. At the time, you're not even as good as your dad, per Doris Burke. But, we got it. Mark, he never figured it out. But maybe ESPN should have commented on that.
I mean, ESPN did continue to let us know that it was his first game back at MSG. He's a New York guy. He went to St. John's. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so JR hits that shot with 1:10 left. Steph doesn't get another shot from this point on. We get a Jarrett Jack turnover. He dribbles right into the corner, travels when he's trapped by Chandler and Shumpert. The Warriors inexplicably inbound to Festus Ezeli at one point, and he just turns it over. And then, credit to Steph. This has always been him. It was him at Davidson in the Elite Eight when they're down 2 against Kansas, and he's doubled, and he makes the right play, getting the ball out of his hands. He does the same thing here. He passes to a wide open Clay, and Clay bricks it.
Yep.
Then he gets another shot again with time running out, misses that one. It just wasn't a great game for Clay, but Knicks end up winning 109-105. Steph finishes with 54, 6 rebounds, 7 assists, 3 steals, 18 for 28 from the field, 11 for 13 from 3, 7 for 7 from the line. And this stood as his career high until the 2020-2021 season when he cracked 60 for the first time. I don't know. Where do we go? Where do we go from here?
So no, I it was a great game. It was a great rewatch again. Steph went bonkers. Melo had 35, hit clutch shots. But this Warriors team, they do make progress throughout the year, and they're able to make a nice little playoff run. So granted, this was definitely the start of Steph and his greatness, and you could probably say that it started, way before that, but this game was like it signaled to everyone in the league, like, this kid could kill you on any given night. But then I think the team gained confidence in the playoffs. And there was, Clay had a really nice playoffs. Maybe not as consistent as we would have liked, but he had, a 30 ball. And you got the experience that you needed. So, they do have a nice run. They beat the Nuggets in 6 in the first round, and then they end up losing to the Spurs in the Western Conference semis. But they are tied with the Spurs 2-2 going into Game 5. So it's not like that series is a blowout by any means.
They really pushed San Antonio because they should have won Game 1. Steph has 44 and 11 in Game 1, and that goes to double overtime, and they lose by 2, and then they steal Game 2 in San Antonio. And like you said, it's 2-2 after 4. They weren't ready to beat the Spurs, but I think that was kind of a wake-up call to everybody. Like, we got a sleeping giant brewing here, and there are some pieces that need to go out and some other pieces that need to come in still. But this backcourt is potentially something really, really, really special. And obviously that's the way that it turned out.
And I will say, I've been harping on Mark Jackson, but he did call it. I mean, I think it was the year after.
Yeah, he was right.
He claimed that they were the best backcourt ever, right? I think did he say shooting backcourt at the time?
I think he said best shooting backcourt ever.
Which, I mean, yeah, obviously he nailed it.
It's without question true.
And at the time, too, for him to say that, and he had full belief. So you got to give him credit for really going all in on those two.
No, for as many shortcomings as he had as a coach, and for all the fun that we've poked about him, being back in New York, like, there was a defensive identity that he imprinted on them that carried over to when Kerr was there.
Absolutely.
Because it would have been very easy to look at this young team and say, okay, we have a ton of young talent, we have young scorers, we have shooters all over the floor. We're just going to play up and down ball, and defense could be an afterthought. And that wasn't the case.
No.
And it absolutely carried over to when Kerr was there. Do you think it's fair to say that during the playoffs that year is when Steph overtakes Blake as the NBA Twitter MVP? I think that's when it happens.
Yeah, it's about that time. Because we've seen so many years out of Blake in Lob City. This is we started saying this is fresh blood, but for NBA Twitter, this was like, you're seeing things that you haven't seen before, similar to the way Blake made you feel 3 years prior. I think that's fair. I think that's probably fair to say.
I just think like if you saw the tweets like, okay, Steph's hit 3 threes in a row, like you're automatically switching to that game on League Pass if you're not already watching it.
Yeah. Yeah. I would agree with that for sure.
Yeah. Yeah,
Just
really fun.
another great game in the Garden.
And speaking of the Garden, our draft man, Vinny Zambito, came up with a great idea. We are going to do a 21st century Madison Square Garden games draft. We're going to do a lottery. We're going to make 7 picks each. We should note, this is basketball only. So a couple honorable mention non-basketball ones that I want to throw out there, though. WWE Survivor Series 2002. The first ever Elimination Chamber match. Still the best Elimination Chamber match we've ever seen. Shawn Michaels wins the World Championship after 4 years away from professional wrestling.
First one was there?
Yeah.
The first elimination?
At Survivor Series, yep. Almost 2 years later, WrestleMania 20. We won't talk about the main event in that one because the winner of the main event did some horrible things. And then Conor McGregor becomes the double champ. He beats Eddie Alvarez and becomes the champ at MSG. As usual, whenever you pitch a draft, I'm going to give you the first pick for having the idea. So
Okay.
NBA or college, we should clarify.
Yes. All right. So probably should be with no surprise here. But with the first pick, I am going to go with the Kobe 61 game. I just feel like that game, I remember exactly where I was. I've tried to do the move where he does like the reverse pivot and then shoots it, or he drives right, stop, I tried to do that move so many times by myself, and my brain like pretzels out, and I don't know how to do it. That game, I've watched that game's highlights so many times, so I'll take that off the board, and we'll go with the Kobe 61 game.
Broke Bernard King's MSG scoring record. We should know. Okay, I'm going to just follow it up just like LeBron did. And I'm going to go with LeBron's a very casual 54, 9, and 11. 2 nights after Kobe goes for 61. Imagine you're in New York and you just decide, you know what? I'm here for a few days. I'm going to see Kobe. I'm going to see LeBron. We'll see what happens. And you get treated to 2 of the finest performances of their careers.
Yep. Yeah.
And that's right at the peak of the Kobe LeBron debate. I mean, that's February 2009. We're right in the thick of it, as these are probably the 2. You disagree?
No. I'm just adding to it because I feel like at that time, too, the Knicks thought that they were going to get LeBron.
They did, yes. Like, you're absolutely right. Great call.
I felt like that almost like sweetened it. Like at a point, it felt like they were kind of rooting for him. They were like, "Ooh, okay." Like,
funny story on that. Did I ever tell you my Gus Johnson story?
No.
So, 2010, the NCAA tournament was in Buffalo again, and once again, I'm going to shout out the Dr. Colin Stucco. Him and I got tickets for all 4 first-round games and both the second-round games 2 days later. So we're there, and West Virginia plays somebody. They play, like, Morgan State in the first game, and no one's there. It's a noon tip-off. You know, a pretty solid West Virginia crowd, but nobody else is there yet.
Right.
So we go down, and we're sitting second row for that game, and we're sitting second row for the second game. And Gus Johnson's calling the games. And I know that Gus Johnson's going to be there. I love Gus Johnson. So I make a sign that says Gus Johnson plus college basketball equals March Madness.
Oh,
And
love
he
that.
sees it before the first game, and he gives me a wave. But then during the halftime break of the second game, he like goes back, I don't know, go to the bathroom, whatever, and he comes back out, and I'm wearing a LeBron Cavs jersey. And at this time, he's also doing MSG games. He's calling Knicks games when it's like not Mike Breen and Walt Frazier. He's their
Right.
secondary announcer. And he walks past me and he does like a double take. And he looks back and I look at him and I'm starstruck. And he goes, "You know your man's going to be playing in New York next year." So
That's
Gus
awesome.
thought it.
That's
Gus
awesome.
thought LeBron was going to New York.
Yeah, a lot of people did. That's an awesome
Yeah.
story. That's an awesome story. But yeah, no, like that was a huge. That's what I remember. So yeah, you are totally right. Two of the best, without a doubt. They're in the peak of their, debate, I should say.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just thought when I was watching it, I was like, these Knicks fans really, really think they're getting LeBron. So yeah, that's a good game. Good pick. Go pick. All right. Second on my list. I gotta do it. We were just talking about college basketball, March Madness. This is my favorite March Madness, honestly, game. It sounds weird because it's not Duke, but I will go with the Syracuse UConn 6 overtime game. It was a school night. It was the 9 p.m. tip, and they went into overtime. They ended regulation tied, and I kind of just looked at my dad, and he was like, "You don't got to go to school tomorrow." And for the rest of the game, I was just rooting for them to play 18 overtime. Like they had a tracker on the screen of how many minutes Johnny Flynn was playing, and it got up to like 56. I wanted him to play like 90 minutes. I was like, let's see if these guys start just like crawling. So yeah, that will be my second pick.
In reality, that probably should have been the first pick.
Yeah.
And I get why it wasn't. And if you would have insisted that I should have had the first pick, I would have picked LeBron's game, and I would have expected you to pick Kobe's.
Yep.
But this probably is the best basketball game ever at MSG.
It's so good. It's so good.
Flynn ended up playing 67 minutes. Eric Devendorf played 61. Paul Harris played 56. Andy Routens off the bench played 50. Then on the UConn side, AJ Price had 61 minutes. Jeff Adrian played 56. Kemba played 52. Thabit played 53. Stanley Robinson played 47. No lie. I did go to school the next day.
Good for you.
I fell asleep and woke up 3 different times during the overtimes. Not even lying. Yeah, I mean, just an all-timer.
And to tie it back to this pod, we had 2 guys go ahead of Steph Curry in that game, in the draft.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I mean, this game probably cemented Johnny Flynn's status as a lottery pick.
Yeah. Yeah, and he actually ends up playing the next night, and they go into overtime in the finals. And I think he wins MVP, they lose.
Well, the next night is the semifinals. They still have 2 games left to go.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, like in college I played 40 minutes once. And like I was fine that day, that game, but then waking up the next morning I felt like I got hit by a bus. So I couldn't imagine like their legs, I couldn't imagine. So yeah.
I played 40 once in high school. We went double overtime at Lima Christian, and I played every minute. And the same thing. Like
in the moment you're fine, but that next
yeah,
day,
because you're running on adrenaline. But
right?
then when you just stop and you're
Yep.
sedentary,
Yep.
it's like, oh my God, what the hell did I just do to myself?
So now, I mean, Flynn played 30 more minutes than we did, and then had to play back to
And the
back
next
minutes.
night, I didn't play again. I mean, I didn't play again for like, I think 5 days after that.
Yeah.
Flynn had to go less than 24 hours later.
Yeah.
Really quickly, Johnny Flynn scored 1,504 points in his NBA career. Stephen Curry has 11 seasons with at least 1,500 points.
Yeah.
Just figured out, throw that out there.
Yep.
Okay, where do I want to go next? I'll go with Steph's game. If only because I think of any Knicks game, even postseason, I probably have the clearest memory of where I was and who I was watching with. Like I said at the top, like I remember everything about that night.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's an all-timer from one of the 10 greatest players of all time in his breakout performance.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I'll take Steph 54-point game off the board.
Yeah. Can't complain about that one. I mean, we just did a whole pod on it, so pretty
Yeah.
special game. Pretty special game. Do I want to go recent or do I want to go with something that got me in the feels? You know what? I'm a Melo guy. I'm gonna go with Melo. I'm gonna go with Melo's first game back as a Knick.
Oh, okay.
So
You're
not
going
the
a different,
not
you're
the
going a different Melo
not
game
the
than I
career.
expected.
No, yeah, not the career
Okay.
high Melo game. I'm going Melo first game back as a Knick. He actually delivers a clutch shot late in the game, and they win. And I just remember one it being such a story because it was an in season trade. So I watched that game, and before the game, they like had him run out through the tunnel, which was weird, like for starting lineups. I think maybe that's just how the Knicks do it. But
They
he
went
was
full
running out.
Willis Reed?
He was running out to so was it Skylar Gray coming home
There you
with
go.
Kanye, and I was like, I just ate that up. So I will go with the Melo homecoming game.
I'll be honest, I didn't have that one on my board. So,
Okay.
but good call. Okay, I will go recent. I'm gonna go game 1, Pacers at Knicks, Eastern Conference Finals this year. Knicks are leading by 14 with under 3 minutes to go. But as we saw over and over and over again in the playoffs, the Pacers just wouldn't die. They're like my Chicago Bears. It doesn't
Yep.
matter how murky it looks late in the game. They're not going away. And Tyrese Halliburton hits a shot that felt so momentous and so instantly iconic that we have it in our intro
Yeah.
for Campfire. I mean, the only way it could have been better was if he hits the choke sign and it's over.
Right.
But then they go to overtime. We get 5 minutes of free basketball. The Pacers win 138-135. And I found this. Teams that were trailing by more than 9 or more in the final minute of the fourth quarter or overtime in the playoffs were winless before that point.
That makes sense.
That this was quite literally the first comeback in playoff history where a team was trailing by 9 or more with under a minute to go, and the Pacers somehow got it done with a bounce on a shot by Tyrese Halliburton that grazed the heavens. Just unreal.
My skin is itching right now because I fell asleep during it.
Oh, okay. Well, I feel better now about falling asleep during the 6 overtime game. We all have one.
I woke up so mad. Like I wanted the Knicks to win. And I didn't wake up mad they lost. I just woke up so mad I missed it. Because, like,
Oh,
I
yeah.
had gotten 15 text messages, and I was like, no, no, no. Like, you just wake up and you're panicked, like you just missed school or something. But, yeah, that's a great game. Probably the best shot in Garden history, maybe.
You
So,
could probably make the case, yeah.
I'm going to go more on the Knicks side, a feel-good Knicks game. I'm going to go the double bang game against the 76ers when DiVincenzo hits the game winner. So that is game 2 of Knicks Philadelphia.
That's 2024, right?
Correct. Yep.
Okay, yeah, good call.
Yep. So they're down 2. The Sixers kind of blow that game. DiVincenzo gets a shot at the top of the key, misses it. They get their own rebound, pass it back out to him, and he drains it. And I just felt like that was a game where like you really started to get like that Nova Knicks feel. And
I was gonna say that's the peak of the night.
I was all in on that. The Garden was rocking. So yeah, I'll go with the double bang game, Knicks versus Philadelphia.
Great call. Have we each done 3 or 4? Or that's your 4.
I've done 4th. You're on 3. Yep.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna go with a game actually that we had on our short list like 6 months ago when we were putting together our list of 25 games for Campfire. I'm going Linsanity at its absolute apex.
That's a good one.
Lakers at Knicks. Jeremy Lin just a few games into one of the more improbable NBA careers, outscores Kobe, goes for 38. Kobe has 34 in a 7-point Knicks win. Man, that Linsanity run.
It was wild.
It was wild. It was brief. Like I think people forget that it was like a 3-week thing, and then the Heat in a national TV game just decided like, yeah, this is done. we're finished with this. LeBron and Wade just made his life hell on a national TV game, and that was it. But man, early February 2012, Linsanity was running wild like Hulkamania 20 years earlier.
That's a fact. That's a fact. No, I mean, that whole aura around that was incredible. So yeah, that's a huge pick. Can't go wrong. All right, so this would be pick 5. Jeez. All right. I'm going to go with the 2021 Hawks versus Knicks game 1. It was the first season it's the first year post-COVID where fans were back into the Garden. And it just felt like there was so much playoff energy that we hadn't seen out of any team, but the Knicks hadn't been in the playoffs. So to get the Garden magic back, I remember being like, I'm so happy the Knicks are good, and I want them to stay good because this is amazing. Like watching a playoff game in the Garden, it's must-watch television.
I mean, it had been 8 years at that point.
Yeah.
I've mentioned this before, another weird game where I could remember like what I had to eat as I was watching it. I made myself a delicious turkey sub and watched that game. Toast the bread a little bit.
Hey, yeah, absolutely.
Some olive oil on there with the mayonnaise. I cooked up something real nice and watched that game. Watch Trey hit the game winner at the end.
Yep.
Okay, great pick. I'm actually gonna take a selfish pick here, and I doubt you would have taken it, but I don't want to let it slip any longer. I'm gonna go with the Big East semifinals, 2024, UConn against St. John's. I could have easily taken UConn over Marquette in the championship game, but just objectively, this was a better game. It was 95-90. It was UConn with Dan Hurley saying the MSG is stores, it's stores north. It's St. John's at the Garden. New York City's alive. Just incredible pace and shot making. Just a really fun game. And it was a win for my favorite team and the college team that I would probably fight people on is the best of the century. I know as a Duke fan you'll have alternate picks, and I've had this discussion with our cousin Paulie Clark about the Florida Gators, and there are some solid ones from the last century, but I'll take my 2023-24 Huskies over the field.
So first, great pick. I want to add to it because I'm not going to, and I believe I've picked 5, right?
Yeah, we've both had 5 picks.
Okay, I'm not going to take this pick, and I think that you probably won't because you mentioned that was a UConn pick. I actually probably agree with you that they are probably the best. Of the century, because I have a game on my list for UConn. So it's weird. I do not. I have a love-hate relationship with UConn because they kind of do have this weird rivalry with Duke, especially since Hurley has taken over. There's been some jabs thrown. And
I think we might be heading toward a collision in March.
Absolutely.
I have a feeling.
But I was a huge Shabazz Napier fan. I love Shabazz. And UConn played Michigan State in the Elite Eight in 2014 in Madison Square Garden, and he was from New York City, and he went off in that game. So that was another game. So I'm with you. UConn could have it. They've been dominant. 3 different coaches too. Like they won under Calhoun, Ali, and now Hurley. So can't argue it. My next 2 picks are just the most homer picks. So bear with me. And actually, my 6th pick, I'm picking 2 games. So sorry, broke the rules. It is what it is. I'm gonna say
making draft history. Just saying, okay, I got the next 2.
Yep. This counts as 1, and you'll get why. It's Coach K breaks records in MSG. So in 2011, he breaks the all-time win record with 903, and he does that against now I'm blanking. It's 2011. He breaks it against, I believe it's Michigan State. Now I gotta do it. Yep. So in 2011, Coach K breaks the all-time win record over Michigan State. They win 74-69. Game's not that eventful, but he does break Bob Knight's record with 903. And then in 2015, in Madison Square Garden, he becomes the first men's basketball coach to win 1,000 games. So it's both records.
I didn't realize that both of those happened to MSG.
Both happened at MSG. One was against Michigan State. Cool. One was against St. John's. So that's why I tied them together. Honestly, the games weren't great. But the fact that he broke the record, 903 at MSG, and then was the first to win 1,000, I'll take both those if you let me.
I will let you. I'll give them to you. Neither was on my board, so you can have them.
Fair enough.
But totally valid reasons for taking them. Absolutely makes sense. Okay. I have one, not really a selfish pick, but a personal pick that I'm going to save for my last one because I'm fairly certain you're not going to pick it. I'm actually going to take the Christmas Day game that we covered just a couple episodes ago, Celtics at Knicks. It's the first game back from the lockout. It was just so great to have professional basketball back when it looked like we were going to lose this whole season. And the game was really entertaining, aside from the fact that it's Boston, New York. It goes right down to the wire. The Celtics had 2 chances to win it in the last 10 seconds. And then at the end of the game, Kevin Garnett commits a misdemeanor trying to choke out Bill Walker. So, like, this game had everything.
Yes.
Merry Christmas.
Yep. No, that's a good pick. I could promise you that I'm not going to pick that. That wasn't that, and I promise you that you aren't going to pick on this game. So, in November of 2008, my man Chris Duhon was on the New York Knicks, and he broke a record: 21 assists in the Garden.
That
Chrissy
is the most
D.
on-brand pick we've had in a draft. All campfire. I
You know-
love it so much.
And it's funny to tie it with this pod. David Lee goes for 38 in that game, but
Very productive player.
yep, Duhon drops 21 assists November of 2008. A game that no one watched, a game that no one
Yeah,
remembers, a game that
did
I will
not
have
watch
by
that
my
one.
heart forever.
Did not watch that one. Do not remember that one. But man, props to Duhon. 21 assists in a game is no joke.
Yep. Telling you, if he could have played in '99, backcourt of
You
Chris
just, like-
Duhon and Charlie Ward, Latrell Sprewell, sprinkling a little Canby and LJ. Oh, it's like the Vince McMahon.
You're still a Knicks fan if that's the team.
Yeah.
You never leave New York.
No, I don't. I'm glad I did. but
Okay.
I never would've.
Last one, just completely obscure, but I'm going to throw it on there because I again remember where I watched it. March 8th, 2006, opening round of the Big East tournament. Syracuse versus Cincinnati. Jerry McNamara hits a one-legged 3 with 0.4 seconds left. A fantastic Bill Raftery Onions call.
Yep.
The reason I have it on here is because I actually watched this at Elba Central School.
You watched it with me. We watched that game together. We had a basketball luncheon or something, didn't we?
It was study hall, I think. This is interesting. I don't remember watching this with you, but I remember a TV was wheeled into Mrs.
Yep.
Bucheri's room
Yep.
and watching it there. Was it a basketball luncheon?
It was like yeah, I don't know why, but yes, I remember watching that game in Mrs. Bucheri's room, and it was like an end of the season banquet or something. But it was like,
Were we there because we were managers for Uncle Joe?
I think so. I don't know what it was, but I know that like there was pizza, and again, I was a chubby boy, so there was pizza. I remember watching that game.
Dude, I remembered my turkey sub that I made. I'm still a chubby boy. We're all good. We're not going to fat shame here.
But yeah, that's how I remember, because I remember watching it with you all at Alba Central. Yes, I was there.
Wow, I did not remember. No offense, I feel bad
No.
now that I in my mind it was a study hall where we got a TV wheeled in there and watched the end of it. But maybe it was a basketball
You said
luncheon.
2006?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was in 7th grade. You were in 8th grade that year. It was something to do with that. Yeah, I remember that. I don't know exactly what it was, but I do remember.
That's awesome.
Because that was
But yeah,
on my list.
Cuse goes on to win 4 games in 4 days by a combined 8 points to win the Big East title.
Yep. That's a great pick. That's a great pick. Because that's
a deep cut.
Yeah, and that was a really good like tournament run. Like UConn's won on a couple of them, but like they weren't making the tournament unless they won the tournament, that Big East.
No, Syracuse wasn't even on the bubble.
Right. So for them,
They needed to win the Big East tournament, and
Yeah.
McNamara, the last guy remaining from their '03 title team,
Yep.
just puts him on his back for 4 nights, and
Yep.
yeah,
Yep. Absolutely. That's a good list.
wow,
We love a
that's
draft.
a really good list. I mean, I have ones that didn't even get picked. I have 4 on my list that didn't get drafted, that didn't crack the lottery. So
Melo 62. I think Harden 61. I mean,
Yep.
if that counts, but
there was a LeBron 58 and 10 game the year before his other 50-point game at the Garden. I had MJ's final game at MSG where he had 38 and the Wizards lose by 1. And the last one I have was West Virginia Georgetown. Deshaun
was
Butler.
that in the Garden with Pigsnoggle?
No. Pitsnoggle was 05.
Oh, that was Wake Forest. Wake
Yes.
Forest.
No, okay, so we're on a Pitsnoggle thing now. Great West Virginia team. Mike Gansey,
Yep.
Air Bear, awesome West Virginia team. This was the 2010 team with Deshaun Butler.
Okay.
That went to the Final Four, and then Butler tore his ACL.
You know who they got?
To the benefit of your Blue Devils.
Yep. Johnny Boy Shire.
But he hits a game winner in the championship game of the Big East tournament against Georgetown. So
Okay.
that was the last one on my
Fair.
on
Because
my short list.
I know that West Virginia had like a 2 overtime game in March Madness against Wake. I think it ended.
And then they had one against Louisville.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I got I was like, how did I forget that game? I'm glad that game wasn't an MSG. So
I actually think that one of those Pitsnoggle games, and now I need to check because I need to know. I want to say one was in Albuquerque.
I mean, if I'm being honest, I feel like as a listener, we're doing you so much justice because if you sit around a campfire with some friends and you're talking about basketball, if you don't hear about Kevin Pitsnoggle, you're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong.
I'm so happy it was the Albuquerque regional. I'm so happy that remained in my brain, where all this other important stuff has just dropped off. I'm so happy that I remembered that game was in Albuquerque.
That's amazing.
Yeah, we're on it now. Let's do it. West Virginia beats Creighton by 2 in round 1. They beat Wake Forest by 6 in round 2 in double overtime. They beat Texas Tech in the Sweet 16 by 5, and then they lose to Louisville by 8 in overtime in the Elite 8. And that's a game where West Virginia's up, I want to say, by like close to 20 in the first half. And Louisville, Francisco Garcia,
Yep.
they come storming back.
Yep. Mike Gansey almost single-handedly made me wear long sleeves under my jersey. But they had to be like the tall tee. Like it needed to be real long.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I tried and I couldn't shoot. So I was like, well, sorry, Mike. But yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, that's a heck of a pod.
Man, we took some unexpected detours here, but that was a fun one. And like you said, maybe this conversation often veers into the, like, you have to be a degenerate basketball fan to really appreciate what we're talking about, but I'm okay with that.
Yeah. If you are questioning why we know so much about Mike Gansey and Albuquerque, don't worry about it. We're happy.
We're just two sickos who love basketball. That's all it says. Vin, it was a pleasure. We have an all-timer next week.
Yes, sir.
Literally, if you make a list of the biggest shots and the most important games in the NBA of the last quarter century, this one is very close to the top. Probably the second most emotional I've ever been in a basketball game in my life, and we'll be covering it in depth next week around the campfire. Vin, always a pleasure, buddy.
That's right, man. Jesus will save us. Alrighty. Take care. Jesus Shuttlesworth.
Puts up a three.